a week on 96.5 thechill.com.
WTIM.
You're listening to the WTIM Pana Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, along with Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Riding's Pana, and Oak and Eat Chop Shop. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and we curl around over to the Nokomis School District for this conversation with their superintendent, Dr. Scott Dewar. Dr. Dewar, thanks for coming on this morning.
Hey, thanks, Reed. How we going? How we doing today?
Yeah, doing okay, aside from the slight cough that I have going on. I was telling Dr. Dewar off air that, well, the last time I spoke with him, I was sick even more so than I am right now, hoping that it stays pretty light, of course. And I sort of had a joke that, well, now every time I talk to him, I'm going to be sick. So, with the way it goes sometimes, that it just goes like that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's how it is. Now it sounds like you folks had your high school graduation just recently. When did that happen?
Yeah, our seniors graduated last Friday night on the 22nd. It was a great ceremony. It lasted about 50 minutes. The three student speakers did an awesome job in their remarks and talking about their accomplishments over the last 4 years as a class, as well as saying goodbye to many of them as they adventure on into their next career choices.
From your vantage point as a superintendent, what is that goodbye like for a school district that's as small as Nokomis?
I think it's a sense of accomplishment for these students, right? They're given a lot of opportunities for a small district that like we have, not only academic but also extracurricular wise. We have a small, close-knit staff that work with our students really, really well to make sure that they, reach their goals, hit their objectives, and make sure that they graduate. I too came from a very small school. I graduated, I think there was like 34 in my class. So I understand that process. Some of them are going to go on and be, continue to be friends. Some are going to go to different colleges, different universities, trade school. We have one this year going into the Marines, and hopefully they all get together in their class reunions, right? And unfortunately, some will not. But it's a culmination of everything they work together, not only individually but as a class throughout their 4 years at Nokomis High School.
Yeah, so it's great to hear about those stories and all of that. You said the ceremony was 50 minutes long?
Yeah, it was this year. It was longer than usual, but it was done very well. Excuse me. Like I said, our student speakers really spoke from the heart and did a great job in conveying their messages.
I love that. How many students were in the graduating class?
So we graduated 43 this year.
Okay, 43. Is that like a typical number? Typically higher or lower?
That's typical for us. Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I was just talking with the folks at the Pana School District. Sounds like they have 90, and yeah, just interesting to hear about the different class sizes. For context, my class was about 350 students, and that graduation ceremony takes 2 hours.
Yep.
Which I can handle 2 hours. Anything longer than that, a little too long for me. But no, really interesting stuff with the graduation. Congratulations, of course, from myself and all of us here at the Heart Media Group to the graduates this year. So you had graduation. Sounds like the students are still otherwise in school. Is that true?
Yeah, the rest of our kids are still in school until Thursday. High school kids are taking finals tomorrow and Thursday. We'll have early dismissal both of those days. And we got some trips planned for some of the kiddos. And then we're going to wrap it up Thursday, and teachers will come in Friday to wrap up all their paperwork and get it turned in, and we'll be ready for summer break to commence.
Yeah, summer break. I'm sure many are looking forward to that. You mentioned some end of year trips. Where to?
Yeah, I think our eighth graders are going up to Springfield to Sky Zone. Our K through 5 takes a yearly field trip every year to various locations, such as the Abraham Lincoln Museum, the State Museum. We take our little kids to like the zoo and different places, so they get some. Not only it's a fun day, but they get some educational experiences as well.
Oh, that's great. A lot of fun times and educational times as well for all of them. Anything else to share about the end of this academic year before we look to the future?
No, I mean we're like I said, we're getting ready to wrap up, and this will be the week that we finish it all up with.
All right. So finishing up this week for the 2025-26 academic year at Nokomis. Let's look to the upcoming times, and it sounds like a new writing curriculum is coming to Nokomis schools. Talk about the curriculum and how that's going to affect some writing classes.
Yeah, we saw a need to you know, work on handwriting, cursive, penmanship, things like that. Stuff that was really um, worked on back in the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, and kind of for some reason went away with the inception of computers and other personal devices. And so we've looked over several different ideas and curriculum to bring back that concept of good handwriting and writing in cursive and making that part of their now hopefully will be a daily lesson of some kind. And we looked at a program called Handwriting Without Tears. It starts at the kindergarten level, using a lot of manipulatives as well as practice, right? And then transitioning that handwriting into cursive writing towards the middle of second grade, where it typically normally happens, just to give kids, a little bit more confidence in their writing, but also, uh, to practice not only the handwriting part, but writing in general as a part or a source of the educational experience.
All right, so handwriting a big part of that. I know you mentioned the rise of like technology and computers. How much of that is like continuing to play a factor in this sort of trend, or are you seeing other factors involved?
I think that has a big impact on our writing skills in our society today. We're used to using abbreviations, using kind of a shorthand and emojis and all kinds of technological advances, which I think is great. But we also have to teach the basics and make sure that these kids have the fundamental skills needed to move on into adulthood. Computers are always going to be a part, I think, of our life. But also, I think it's important that, not only do kids learn, basic math and reading and things like that, but collaboration skills as well as handwriting skills. And I think that will serve them well in their future.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've got that change coming up, and anything else in terms of like the writing curriculum, or is it really just focused on kind of the handwriting skills that you were talking about?
Yeah, I think it's going to have a twofold effect. I think the first effect is going to be the handwriting skills, the formation and shaping of letters. But I think it will also lead into writing, such as forming sentences and paragraphs, and then eventually good essays that kids will need once they get into the high school and post secondary education as well. So I think and I hope through our research that this will be an overall very robust curriculum that brings into effect many different aspects of writing.
Yeah, so we will see how that plays out. I'm always interested in hearing about curriculum changes and kind of what that's about, how it comes about, and what the curriculum looks like. So certainly a fascinating topic there from Dr. Scott Dewar, superintendent of the Nokomis School District. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll look into some other future matters as well that are relevant for the Nokomis School District. And we'll talk about that after this break right here on the WTIM Pana Morning Show on your information station.
Your information station, WTIM.
FD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and Chicago wheat remain lower at this hour. July corn down 5 3/4, 457.5. September corn down to nickel, 464 3/4. December corn 482 3/4, down 3 3/4. July beans 1188 3/4, down 7 3/4. August beans down 7, 1188. November beans 1182 1/4, down 5 1/2. July Chicago wheat 641 1/2, down 4 3/4. July KC wheat 681 3/4, down 1/4. July bean meal 329.30, down 260. July bean oil 74.17, up 19 cents. Livestock trade, August feeders 351.40, up $1.55. June live cattle down 1/4, 249.05. June lean hogs 96.40, up 65 cents. Energy market, July Brent crude oil $100.21, up 404.
Could you use some extra cash in your savings account? Then you need to sign up for People's Bank and Trust Save by Spending's Roundup program. I'm Julie Sanchez with People's Bank and Trust. Simply use your debit card like you always do, and we will round up your purchases to the next dollar. The extra change is then transferred to your savings account. There's never been an easier way to save. Call 888-PBT-1954 today to find out more. People's Bank and Trust, we put you and your savings first. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Looking for comfortable, affordable senior living in Taylorville? Rolling Meadows Senior Living now has an accessible unit available, designed for adults 62 and older. Rolling Meadows offers a smoke-free community with controlled access and 24-hour maintenance. Enjoy spacious kitchens with full-size appliances, convenient on-site laundry, and Wi-Fi in common areas. Call 217-287-2450 today to schedule your appointment. Rolling Meadows Senior Living is sponsored by Lutheran Social Services of Illinois and funded in part by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago. Rolling Meadows is an equal opportunity provider.
If you're looking for music that stood the test of time, join me, Randy Miller, Sunday mornings from 6 to 8 on 96.5thechill.com. I host Steady Ground Replay, a 2-hour journey back to the roots of contemporary Christian music. From the songs that started a movement to the hits that formed our foundation, it's 2 hours of timeless encouragement. Steady Ground Replay, standing on the music that built our faith. Sunday morning, 6 to 8 on 96.5thechill.com.
Finding a local job in Central Illinois has never been easier. Don't waste time driving far or spending too much on gas. Visit IllinoisJobPost.com. It's your one-stop site to find local, full-time, and part-time job openings. Best of all, it's completely free for job seekers to access anytime, day or night. So if you're ready to land a job close to home, make IllinoisJobPost.com your first stop. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. Brought to you by your friends at the regional radio stations.
WTIM.
And welcome back to the WTIM Pana Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, along with Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Ridings Pana, and Oak and Eat Chop Shop. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and we pick up the conversation with Dr. Scott Dewar, the superintendent of the Nokomis School District, and we talked a little bit about the end of this school year and some changes to the writing curriculum coming up for the next academic year. I know recently, or I think it was a couple months ago, the state budget got announced, and I know with the summer coming up, you folks are thinking about those sorts of considerations, and I'm curious about what parts of the state budget you look at and kind of focus on in terms of figuring out how you folks are going to operate in the coming academic year within your means.
Wow. So, yeah, this is the last week of the Illinois General Assembly to meet. They have a self-imposed deadline of May 31st to finish the state budget. As we look at this process, we obviously look at the governor's address that he gives on early into this early spring, late winter. And then we really start the process of talking to our local state representatives, seeing what that looks like, our local senators as well, and really focus in on the school funding process. Obviously, the biggest part of school funding is our evidence-based funding formula, which is a majority of the money that we get from the state as school districts. And it's all changed, back prior to 2017, I believe it was everything was done on average daily attendance. And now there's 22 different factors that go into our funding formula. And none of those really have to do with daily attendance rates. So that's completely changed. But what we also look at are what are called mandated categorical payments. And these are reimbursements that the state gives schools for other services outside of those 22 formulas, such as transportation. Those big yellow buses don't run for free, right? We have to buy the buses, we have to maintain them. Obviously, fuel is ridiculously expensive today. But we also have other categories such as special education, breakfast and lunch, private facility use, driver's education. All those are outside of that EBF formula that we have to really educate legislators on a yearly basis. And for the past 10 plus years, the state has prorated those amounts for which those payments are made. Some of them may drop into as low as 50% proration, which really then hurts our services. But then we have to use other monies that are available to us to provide, services such as special education or driver's education, and definitely transportation of students to and from school. That overall affects the school budgets. So we really try hard to get into those legislatures' ears, if you will, and explain what that money is for, how it's used, why it's important, and hopefully then they can take or find some funds to help fund those and hopefully get us out of proration one of these days. That's not going to be easy. That's billions of dollars at this point in time. But it's something that they really need to start focusing on to ensure the integrity of those programs.
Yeah, and it sounds like with these financial considerations, I mean, do you, in your role as superintendent, right, are you kind of watching that and just kind of seeing like how much money you get, and maybe are you having to like maybe think in terms of like, where you have to make cuts if the funding doesn't quite meet what it is you folks are needing to fully operate?
Absolutely. Superintendents all across the state have to guesstimate a lot of times. We have to make some of those decisions in March of the upcoming year. And so with the budget not getting passed at the end of May, the governor may not get it signed until June or July. And then once all that paperwork gets transferred to the Illinois State Board of Education to disseminate those numbers, sometimes it is August to October before we know those real numbers and the school year has already started. So then we have to go back and say, okay, we have our real numbers now. Let's see what we're working with, and then make adjustments if we can at that point in time. If not, we have to do that for the following or for the upcoming school year. So it's really a process that's backwards in many cases.
Yeah.
But it's what we live with, and
yeah,
we have to, in many cases, be very, very conservative in our guesstimates and hope that the General Assembly, provides those funds to us.
That's right. We're just about out of time. Dr. Scott Dewar with the Nokomis School District. Dr. Dewar, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. Have yourself a good Tuesday.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville. 96.1 FM Taylorville. 107.5 FM Shelby.